A very good morning to the organizers, TPC chair, reviewers, and my dear friends. I would like to thank the reviewers for accepting my paper. My paper title is An Efficient Analysis Scheme for Intelligent ECG Monitoring Devices. I am the sole author and presenter of this paper. My name is Dr. Sandeep Raj. I am an assistant professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at Indian Institute of Information Technology, Bhagalpur. So my presentation will be covering the following topics: the introduction, followed by the existing methods, the proposed method which we have proposed in this paper, followed by the results and discussion, and finally my paper will conclude and it will present the future scope of my work. So starting from the introduction, due to the rapid advantage in technology and increased demand of gadgets or devices by consumers, the smart healthcare has shown significant growth. It is expected that these devices shall assist an estimate of 808.9 million users by 2020, and this will greatly improve the healthcare. These devices aim to assist for various purposes such as continuous monitoring of ECG signals. The major advantages with these devices are they require less time for analysis than a doctor and are typically for point of care use. The higher accuracy of these devices can be achieved by implementing efficient methods. That is, the method should be both computationally efficient and achieves higher accuracy in detecting the ECG signals. In the second slide, I have presented the existing monitoring systems, and I am going to explain the limitation with the existing systems. So first of all, the Holter machines, they are used to store the ECG signals for 24 hours, and the analysis of the stored signals are performed by the physician in offline mode. Followed by the loop recorders, they are also used to store the ECG signals for more than 3 months, and it is also analyzed by a physician in offline mode. In the case of Vitaphone medicine system and active ECG, they record the ECG signal and transmit it to a remote location where a cardiologist receives the signal and analyzes them for remote real-time monitoring purpose. There are several other sophisticated devices available based on the smartphones or PDAs. They provide partly real-time monitoring, but they do not provide a complete diagnosis solution. In the advanced ECG monitoring systems and HP monitoring systems are available, which uses the Loewen algorithm, which has reported the highest accuracy among 9 algorithms clinically tested in the detection of ventricular hypertrophy. So what I want to conclude from this slide is there are several kind of monitoring systems available for ECG. However, they fail to provide a complete diagnosis solution. The most advanced HP monitoring systems are able to classify only 4 different kinds of ECG, and they fail to provide a complete diagnosis solution, and rather no real-time monitoring is performed at the place of patient, and the patient is unknown about his cardiac status. So whatever the devices I have discussed earlier has been depicted in figure mentioned below. You can see the Holter monitor. In the loop recorders, these devices, the loop recorders are implanted in the body of the patient, the Mediton system, and followed by the Vitaphones and HP systems. So from here, the motivation of the paper comes from the devices performing ECG monitoring are huge in size, which is restricted to ICUs in high-tech hospitals and more often costlier for common people. To the best of author's knowledge, there is no such device which is available for common people with low cost for continuous real-time monitoring and diagnosis of cardiovascular diseases. Therefore, there is a need of low-cost and portable device for real-time monitoring and diagnosis of cardiovascular diseases, and therefore the real-time and automatic diagnosis of cardiovascular diseases demands the development of efficient algorithms, and the algorithm, which I have stated earlier, also must be efficient in terms of computational complexity and achieves an higher accuracy to classify different classes of ECG signals. The motivation is followed by the existing methods which are available and has been reported across the world. So these are the brief literature, and there are two significant stages in ECG signal monitoring, followed by the feature extraction and the classifiers, which are generally the machine learning algorithms. So in paper Rodrigues published in the year 2005, he extracted the waveform features and he classified them into 5 categories using the decision tree algorithm and achieved an accuracy of 96.12%. So these are the various authors, and they have extracted different features and the classifier schemes, and their accuracy can be found in this table. So we aim to achieve higher accuracy using the less computational load algorithms. So the next slide is the proposed method, in which we have proposed a new method. Its block diagram can be found in figure 1. The input signal is taken from the MIT BIH PhysioNet database. The database consists of 48 recordings of the patients, and the input is taken and pre-processed first, and after the pre-processing or filtering of the ECG signals, the R peak within the ECG signal is detected, and across the R peak a window is taken to segment the ECG signals to perform signal by signal analysis. And in the feature extraction stage, we have used the complex double density dual T wavelet transform, and the feature extracted using the complex double density dual T wavelet transformed and classified using artificial bee colony optimized support vector machines. And finally, the results are presented in the form of confusion matrix. So these are the different stages, and we will now move to the next slide, which is the pre-processing. In the pre-processing stage, we aim to remove the different kind of noises associated with the ECG signals. The noises include the power line interference, and various other noises are also available. So to remove the baseline wonder associated within the ECG signals, 2 median filters are used. The first median filter removes the P wave, while the second median filter removes the T wave within the ECG signal. The output signal of the second filter is subtracted from the original signal to generate the baseline corrected signal. And finally, a 12 tap low pass filter with equal ripple in the pass band and stop band with a cutoff frequency of 35 Hz is used to remove the high frequency content in the ECG signal. So figure 2 depicts the raw ECG signal, in which we can see that the noise is associated within the ECG signal. And figure 3 depicts the filtered ECG signal, which is a very clean signal in comparison to figure 2, where we can find that no noise, or we can say that very less amount of noise is available. So we will use this signal for the R peak detection purpose. In the R peak detection, we have used the well-established Pan-Tompkins algorithm. It is basically, there are various R peak detections algorithm. However, there are certain advantages for the Pan-Tompkins algorithm, which includes it has achieved a higher accuracy of 99.35%, and its computational complexity is also low. Further, its performance in the noisy conditions is very good in comparison to the rest of the algorithms. So using this algorithms, we have detected the R peak within the ECG signal, and which has been detected in figure 4. We can see that the red dots are used to highlight the peaks, and these peaks are the R peaks of the ECG signal. When the R peak is detected, it is essential to segment each of the ECG signals using a windowing. So we apply a window, and we have taken 65% samples after the R peak and 35% samples before the R peak to estimate the length of each ECG signals, and hence it is ensured that every information of an heartbeat starting from P wave and ending T wave is preserved, and no information regarding any wave is lost. In the feature extraction stage, we have used the double density complex wavelet transform, and it transforms the original time domain signal into a time frequency domain, and we have extracted distinguishing features by applying this method. And in the application of double density complex wavelet transform, the ECG signal is decomposed up to 5 levels, and after the decomposition, we have calculated two features, L2 norm and LEAF, for all the 5 subbands computed, and in total 12 subbands are used to calculate the corresponding features. The features L2 norm and LEAF are computed using equation 1 and 2, which can be found below. To identify the significant features, that which features will contribute to achieve more accuracy, these features are passed through the student's t-test and ranked in order of their high discriminative ability. Finally, the optical performance of the classifier is reported for only 11 features. It can be concluded from this slide is 11 features, that is 1 cross 11 of 1 cross 11 dimension, is used to represent an ECG signal of length 256 samples. So 1 cross 256 length of an ECG signal is converted into 1 cross 11. It is used to convert into 1 cross 11 features. And then comes the feature classification stage. In this stage, a twin support vector machine is used using the 1 against 1 approach to classify 5 classes of ECG signals as per the AMI standards. I have stated earlier that the MIT BIH database, arrhythmia database, consists of 48 records, and it consists of 12 ECG signals categories, but as per the AMI standards, these 16 categories of ECG signals are transformed into 5 generic classes. So to implement a support vector machines, several kernels are available, such as linear, radial basis function, polynomial functions, and we have applied all these kernels, and we have found that the RBF, the radial basis function, has reported the highest accuracy. And after we have determined that RBF had outperformed the rest of the kernels, we have applied an artificial B colony method to select the optimized parameters of the classifier. So the classifier includes the cost function C and the gamma parameter for the RBF kernel. So in the training procedure, the C and the gamma parameters of twin support vector machines are optimized using the ABC technique, and they are chosen upon M-fold cross-validation technique. Once the training of the classifier is completed, the testing is performed on the test dataset to estimate the performance of the proposed methodology. Then comes the result and the discussion section. The experiments are conducted on the personal computer using MATLAB software. The proposed method is evaluated under 2 schemes, S1 and S2. The S1 scheme stands for equally split data sets. So as per the AMI standards, 4 records have been excluded. So therefore the experiments are performed on the 44 records, and we have divided 44 records into 22 into training and 22 for testing purpose. So in scheme 1 equally split data sets, we have 22 records for training and 22 records for testing. And In scheme 2, it is the 22-fold cross-validation scheme. That is, the training is performed on the 21-fold and the testing is done for only one scheme, and the accuracy obtained for each fold are averaged to determine the accuracy of the proposed method. So in the two schemes, in scheme 1, 49,823 signals are being tested, and out of 49,823, 44,393 are correctly classified using scheme 1. And in scheme 2, 1,01,352 testing signals are used, and out of this 91,586 signals are being correctly classified, and hence an accuracy of 96.79 and 96.26% is achieved in schemes S1 and S2. So table 2 reports the performance of the proposed algorithm in scheme 1, and table 4 summarizes the performance of the proposed algorithm in scheme 2. So here we can see that a total of 44,238 normal signal is classified, and out of 44,238, 39,987 signals are being correctly classified in the normal category. So once the confusion matrix is computed, the performance metrics are being computed. The performance metrics are the F-score, the positive predictivity and sensitivity parameters for the 5 classes of ECG signals being classified, and the execution time for 10 seconds of ECG data is approximately 2 minutes and 2 seconds, which is efficient in terms of computational complexity. And table 7 presents the comparative study, and here we can find that our method has achieved the highest accuracy of 96.2%. So in the last, I want to conclude this paper. The classification is based on the combination of double density complex dual tree wavelet transform with ABC optimized least square support vector machine for efficient classification of ECG signals. The proposed method is evaluated under two schemes, the equally split dataset and the cross-validation schemes. 5 classes of ECG signals are studied as per the AMI recommendations, and the accuracy reported is to be 96.29%. The future scope of this proposed method is that the method can be extended to classify more number of ECG signals. The proposed method is computational complexity is very low, so it can be implemented on microcontroller platforms to develop a proof of concept prototype, and the prototype hardware can be further fabricated into an embedded device for performing real-time analysis of heartbeats with IoT capabilities. So now I want to highlight the response to each of the reviewers, and I would like to thank them to suggest us the necessary with their necessary suggestions, and I would like to inform that I have incorporated all the suggestions of the reviewers in my revised manuscripts, which I have uploaded earlier. So these are the comments and their responses which I have given, and these are the response to reviewer 2 suggestions, and these are the some suggestions raised by reviewer 1. This is the response to the reviewer 2 suggestions, and finally response to the TPC suggestions. So the TPC has asked a question regarding, can you please suggest some consumer electronics application integration with consumer electronics devices of your approach? So I would first of all like to thank the TPC to raise this point. A paragraph for the existing monitoring devices and their limitations has been summarized in the introduction section of the revised manuscripts. This study proposes an efficient method for the development of an intelligent monitoring device, and this can be done by implementing the proposed method on a microcontroller platform, which is the future scope of this work. However, previously I have personally published this work and in IEEE transaction on consumer electronics, whose citation is mentioned below, and we are continuously working on this topic to improve the accuracy of these handheld devices. And in last, my presentation includes the references, and these are most of the references I have tried to include in this presentation. And I would like to thank you again for listening me and for accepting my manuscript. A very thank you.